Tuchel would have wanted them to be a little bit more clinical in front of goal, but when you haven't conceded a shot on target and you've had 74% of the football, it's never a bad night, is it?
Yeah, routine, Jake, rather than vintage. I think it was just a generic Champions League game, get the job done. Wasn't good, but defended well, never looked in danger. Thought Ruben Loftus-Cheek was excellent. It was good to see Callum making an impact on the game. Ziyech getting a goal. There was a lot of positives to take, and you get, like I said, you just get back on the plane from these games, points in the bag, and you can just concentrate on the weekend.
I think that's what's great about this Chelsea team. They can go and beat Norwich 7-0, sorry, Jake, or they can come today and you know, not have an amazing performance against a much better Malmo team that we saw at Stamford Bridge, but still get a performance, get the job done. You know, some good performances in there. Hudson-Odoi with the assist, and obviously Ziyech with the goal, and Loftus-Cheek. But that's this Chelsea team. That's the machine of this Chelsea team. They can really perform really well, but also they can get results without fantastic performances.
Should we talk a bit about Callum Hudson-Odoi? He's a bit of an enigma, isn't he? He some weeks looks great, other weeks he flatters to deceive. But that ball this evening was lovely.
Tantalising ball, beautiful. This is what you want from your wingers, and this is what you've been waiting for, and you want to see on a consistent basis from Callum. But listen, we've heard about Callum since he was a young kid coming through the ranks of Chelsea, talking about him along him and Sancho, who's the better player, etc. He hasn't quite lit it up yet as consistently as someone like Sancho has. But if he starts doing that on a regular basis, the hype will be real. I mean,
is that what this is then? Is this a consistency game for him?
But I think the injury, you have to point out he's had a big injury, an Achilles injury, which is a massive injury, which he's probably still coming back from. So you've got to give him that benefit of the doubt still.
I think with Hudson-Odoi, often when he's going 1v1, he looks like he's overthinking. In that, he's put the ball in the box. Just don't even think about it. Put the ball in the box early, you know, without having to beat a man. Sometimes he looks like he doesn't really have the confidence to go 1v1. And sometimes you just don't think about it. Just put it in there, and that's where he's going to get his assists, I think. Yeah,
again, he played and he running behind. I think once he adds that more to his game, that sort of running off the ball, like a Pulisic does. Pulisic come on for 15 minutes and made 3 or 4 runs. He nearly got his goal. He was offside. But Callum, that was a lovely touch, turned it round the corner. And the way upon Rio's right, you've been hearing a lot about him, and he's achieved a lot in his young career already. But there's still more to come. There's still improvements to make. And what I would say is he's added more to his game. He can play right wing back. He can play inside off the right, inside off the left. He's a valuable player to Chelsea. But I still think there's levels to go up from him.
Yeah, I 100% agree on that. There's more to come from Callum Hudson-Odoi. But going back to the performance, we've all been there. You've gone away to stadiums like this where people expect it to be easy, expect you to roll teams over. These are hard games to navigate sometimes. If you don't go into them with the right mentality, you can get turned over. And that's what I really like about this team at the moment under Tuchel, is that he gets his team, forget the tactics, etc. Mentally, they're ready to rock and roll every game, week in, week out.
You know he'll still be looking at the things that weren't great, though, like the paucity in front of goal will frustrate him this evening. Yeah, but they've still got the game done and dusted. He'll think, listen, long term, that's got to improve. But I'll take that tonight. I've got all my big strikers not playing and not on the pitch, not on the bench. You're pretty much done for the evening. Before you go, Ruben Loftus-Cheek, big night for him, and he delivered as well, didn't he?
He delivered.
All right. Thank you very much for being with us.
Thanks, Jake.
Man of few words. You can go and chill out now. Paul Scholes is going to join us very shortly because we're going to turn our focus from Chelsea. You know what? It has been non-stop action and drama since the Champions League got going this season. And then tonight rolls around. It's not exactly a classic so far, is it? It's not, but Malmo, they're going to make it difficult because they got embarrassed the last game and they're not going to want to see that again. And you can see the effort. Defensively, they've been resolute. They've been celebrating tackles, blocks, saves. To a man. So you can see they've set their stall out to try and not get embarrassed, not get beat in the manner they got beat last time. And listen, they've been prickly at times. They've even threatened the occasional time at the other end. But it's Chelsea, really. It's up to them to break this team down and really put the game to bed. What have you all made of Ruben Loftus-Cheek's involvement this evening? We said it was a big one for him, first Champions League start in 6 years. Yeah, I think he's been bright. I think he's shown the energy that we talked about before the game. He's shown the drive in midfield. I just wish sometimes with Loftus-Cheek he had a bit more confidence. You know, here I think Hudson-Odoi needs to play it quicker to him. Obviously, he gets his shot off, but I think you know the position there for Loftus-Cheek is very good. Sat at the edge of the box. Again here, I think Hudson-Odoi can release it because he ends up doing it anyway, and
I think this is unfortunate. Great look.
I think that in them positions there, that's the experience in games, more games at this level, and demanding of people, telling them.
Yeah.
Joe, you've played with people like Frank would have been screaming at you, and if you don't give it to them, next time I'm going to be in your face. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, he needs a bit of that, don't he? And I think he's been bright. There's his touch map there, and he's been all over the park. I think he's embraced that role in the centre of the park. He's controlling it. It's what is a drab game, let's be honest. But Ruben, I feel like he's getting better. He's been excellent the last 4 weeks. And the second half, all he needs is to be a little bit more positive, like Annie says, a little bit more belief, a little bit more confidence, get on the ball, drive. That last incident where he drove through the middle, he hit a lovely pass, but he could have even took it on a little bit further because he's such a talented player. And it's a game for him tonight to go and take the... If he's top players now, take the game by the scruff of the neck and win the game for Chelsea, get on the plane, go home and put the group to bed. We spoke pretty much about the way that wing-backs are used in this Chelsea team, and we had the perfect example tonight, didn't we? Yeah, we did. And the two guys who've been out of the team, who you could have said maybe would come in and be a little bit off it, but they've been guys that have been getting into dangerous areas. Alonso had a lot of the ball. Here you can see the fullback on the other side, as Lequeta is in there, middle of goal. This is the wing-back. On the opposite side, middle of goal here, having a strike on his left foot, and this is the big difference and the change tactically since Tuchel's come in. Do you know what? It's almost when we're analysing games, as we see players like Azpilicueta popping up in them positions, that would never have happened in our days. They have great freedom, the wing backs. It's the reason why Alonso scores, Azpilicueta scores, Reece James, Chilwell. You play in that position, you have to pop up in the box and you have to be good technically, and they all are, and they all will score goals, and it takes the burden off of the centre forward. So when they get Lukaku back firing, add that with the other boys, it gets even stronger. Very good. We're hoping this one bursts to life, I think, in the second 45.
Okay, thanks.
See you later.
Let's talk about Kai Havertz, because talking about finding solutions, that's exactly what he's done here. And he made a point this week, didn't he, of saying he's not playing a false nine, he is playing as our number 9.
Yeah, and I think he said that because what we're going to show in a moment, I think it's important the personnel around him. I think he hasn't got Werner running behind, hasn't got Pulisic running behind, so playing as a false nine ain't going to work. He needs to keep stretching the teams. So just point him out in this position here. He's in the number 9 position here. And what he does really, really well is he runs and occupies space. And this is the Norwich game. If you just pick him up here, as soon as it points, he runs. He has to be more clinical in these positions. Gets away, doesn't quite get his shot off. And this one I particularly like. This is the Malmo game. You just pick him up here. He makes a clever, clever run just in this position here, where he just takes the ball and runs through the channel. He needs to do more of this in the coming weeks until Lukaku's back. Again, in a lovely position, hits the target, goalkeeper makes a good save. And he can play number 9, and he can do that, and he can be stretching the defenders. If you look at him this way, he can run wide. You know, he can, because he's a clever player, he's intelligent, he can make things happen. If he feels the space is there to run, we'll play it on in a moment here. And watch this run in the time of the run. Callum Hudson-Odoi brings it into play, bends his run towards centre half, and this is clinical. This is top grade centre forward finishing. He's done it very well. He needs to do it continuously, do it well until Lukaku's back on the scene. But
I think it's really important then he does sort of gain more and more experience and confidence as that 9, because when Lukaku comes back, he will be that number 9 for Chelsea. But what Havertz does, it gives Tuchel different tactical options. So Havertz can play off the left or the right. He can play in the 2 when they play 3-5-2. So it's really important that he knows how to play the 9, but also he's got those other options as well.
I think he's an elusive player as well. He's somebody who doesn't like contact. He always plays away from people. And as a number 9, sometimes you need to have that contact, have that be that focal point for a team. But I think his teammates just have to quickly adjust. He's not a Lukaku type. He's going to want it down the sides of teams. He's going to want to come to feet. He's not going to be the conventional number 9. And that's the difference of him. But I see him being someone who's going to grow to be a real integral member of this Chelsea team in years to come. This is just another part of his education. He's got to embrace this period now.
Talking of embracing this period, that's exactly what Ruben Loftus-Cheek is doing. When I said his first start in the Champions League for 6 years, what did you make of that? It's surprising, isn't it?
It is really surprising. But, you know, again, I think we've talked about how Tuchel uses his squad. A lot of these players have been out in the cold. They've been out on loan. Loftus-Cheek is the perfect example of that. And I think for Chelsea, he gives that extra dimension in the midfield. You know, at times it's been a little bit laboured, but he comes in with this sort of drive, that power, that the energy that he brings to the midfield that Jorginho doesn't necessarily have, or Kovacic doesn't necessarily have. And he's playing with the confidence. He's keeping himself fit as well, which is really important because Loftus-Cheek's body breaks down. So it's good to see him back and challenging those positions in the midfield. He's a good tactical option as well in the 3 or the 2. Yeah. So it's good to see him back.
Playing well.
I love him. I mean, I've always known about him from when I've had people that have been friends at Chelsea when he come through the youth system. Joe's obviously coached him at times and been in the training ground with him. He's a fantastic specimen, first and foremost, but the way he drives, I liken him in full flow like we're seeing now to somebody who could potentially have the effect, maybe. Levels, if we get to that level, is a different story, but the effect and impact in certain situations like this and similarities I see with someone like a Yaya Toure, he can intimidate players. When he turns and gets in full pelt, in this position here, turning defence to attack like that, that is like unplayable sometimes. And for me as a centre-back playing against that, that was one of my biggest fears. If our midfielders get turned in these positions and then this is running at you, it's a problem because he can release and he can play. He plays with his head up. He's a fantastic talent.
No, and he's embraced this new role a bit deeper. He's always shown us glimpses. If you look at this clip here, he gets the ball there, look at that. He makes an assist from here. He attracts players in with his strength and with his ability, and then he gets the ball and then he's on you. He's into the final third. He picks a lovely pass out for Mason Mount's hat-trick. But he's a fantastic player, and I really want him to take the game by the scruff of the neck tonight.
And that's what I like about him. He's comfortable in the front three, and when the wide areas in the front three or behind the strikers, as he is receiving the ball off the defenders. That's not what you get from a lot of players. That's a great. The strings he's got to his bow is beautiful.